Welcome to Rachel Uncensored, the only place on the internet you can find an uncensored version of me. Hello, and welcome to another solo episode. I almost contemplated having Joy back so that we could just do the pissed off segment together. I have never been more entertained by a human's laugh. And also, she thinks I'm funny, and that is just a huge ego boost to me. But anyway, it's solo. I'll probably have her back next week. I absolutely love doing podcasts with her, but I'm trying to keep it every other week solo episodes so I don't feel too pressured to get guests. But anyway, if you missed last episode, it was a good one, so I definitely suggest going back and watching that. But for today, I need to go get my book. 1 second. We are starting with the pissed off segment, as we do. And this is from my book, 101 Things That Pissed Me Off. We just read one entry every episode. Because I don't really have anything that's pissing me off this week. Nothing's getting in my groin. Nothing's causing a commotion within my soul. There's no anger festering. I'm not building any resentment. So we're just reading the book. This one will always stand. This one is, you know what pisses me off? Number 34, drunk drivers. I mean, you can't disagree with me on this. This is just forever will stand true. Are people really still doing this? I'm reading it now. Sorry. And it reads, are people really still doing this? If you drunk drive, I actually have zero respect for you as a human being. There are cabs, buses, and subways. There's Uber, Lyft, and anyone in your contact list on your phone that you could call for a ride home. With how often people die from drunk drivers, you'd think it would stop. But no, people are really just that stupid and inconsiderate. And inconsiderate. I couldn't speak for a second. You got it. Imagine someone you love walking down the street and driving a car, doing absolutely nothing wrong, then being murdered because some idiot has one too many drinks and didn't want to leave their car and pick it up in the morning. Screw that person. Don't drink and drive. If you do, I hate you. So that one wasn't a funny one. Should I read a funny one? That one was just like a genuine anger from the soul, and I still have the same feelings on that. Let's read a funny one. I don't want to end on such a negative tone. This podcast is supposed to spread laughter, not anger, even though we do this segment. Here we go. Number 35. You know what pisses me off? People who are always late. I still don't understand it. Okay. I could go on a rant about this, and it reads, if you tell me you'll be somewhere at a certain time, I expect you to be there at that time. Obviously, a few minutes late is okay. I live in a place where parking can be hard to find. But being more than 15 minutes late is irritating. Do I look like I have time to spare? Do I look like I enjoy waiting for you? If you take only one thing away from the billions of years spent in school, let it be that you have to be on time. The end. I don't... I like to be on time. It's something about me. If I tell you I'll be there at 5, I will be there at 5. I would probably be there at 4:59. And if it's super nonchalant, if someone's like, just come over around 5, I go, okay, there is, I want to say a 15-minute grace period on either end of that 5 o'clock. But when I say something starts at a certain time, or I need you to meet me there at a certain time, and you don't, and you said you would, there are a lot of people in my life who shall remain nameless, but sometimes I have to fib as to what time we have to leave the house because for some reason, the time that they're told, they refuse to do it. They always want to leave 10, 15 minutes later than the go time. I always ask, what's the go time? When someone's like, okay, we have plans tonight. We have dinner plans tonight. I'm like, okay, what time is go time? Meaning, what time do I have to leave this house? Because I'm not just sitting ready for an hour. I have so much stuff to do. So you give me my go time, I will be ready at that go time. And I'm always given a go time, and I'm the only one ready. I don't know why. I don't know why it happens. So sometimes I fib. I'm not fibbing. I'm giving a grace period. And I also know with my group of friends, I say party starts at 7. I know people aren't showing up till 8. I know there's going to be my handful of people. My cousin Andrew always shows up. He usually shows up early to help. But if I'm throwing a party, he will be there exactly on time or early to help. I have a few friends that will always show up on time. But the majority of my friends, no. I say party starts at this time and festivities will start an hour later. I'm giving them an hour window to show up. I don't understand it. I guess it's stressful for me, and I guess people don't feel that stress. I don't want to make people wait for me. I don't want to be an inconvenience. I don't want to be a negative thing in their life. So I'm not gonna, especially if you're meeting them out in public. Like if you're meeting them at their house to just hang, that's one thing. They're not losing time. They're at their place. But meeting someone for lunch or for dinner at a spot and you show up like a half hour late, 20 minutes late, I'm sitting there by myself. I could have been doing things at my home. I could have been doing things that are productive or that I enjoy doing. I do not enjoy waiting for someone. Life is precious. My time is valuable and I don't want to waste it waiting. Okay. That's what pissed me off this week in my book. And then time for Rachel's Rewind. We have 2. One said, I asked y'all what last names you would love to have if you could choose your last name. And some people were talking about amazing last names they've heard. But someone said, I think my favorite new last name would be, what's his name? Because I am terrible with names. Anyone else who is bad with names can easily remember it. You know that one guy, K, what's his name? Genius. Absolutely genius. And then another person said, we had a shop teacher in middle school named Mr. Steelhammer. I always loved that. How fitting. Mr. Steelhammer is a shop teacher. Thank you. Thank you, whoever created that creativity. Absolutely love it. And then we have a question of the day, which is there ever a product you wanted to test but couldn't find it? I've really sat long and hard because I've been testing products on my main YouTube channel for years and years. I've been testing for like 8 years. I've been on YouTube for like 11 or 12. But I don't think there hasn't been anything I can't find. But I will say I'm blocked a lot by how expensive stuff is. I'm not Mr. Beast. I'm not the people that can spend $10,000 on a video. That's not me. I have a cap of like a couple hundred. And there have been so many products where I want to test all these different vacuums and see which one's the best. But vacuums are like ranging from $100 to $600. I can't test 5 vacuums that are $600 each. That's just not going to happen. So there are definitely products I want to test but can't afford to. But I've been able to find, like if I think of something, I've been able to find pretty much everything or a rendition of it, a version of it. I feel like I have an eyelash that's hanging and I just needed to stop. All right. And then there was another question. I get this a lot and it makes me ponder if you use other social media apps. So last week I mentioned that I'm still working on my app Flip and someone commented, legit question about Flip. Okay, so you're not being a poo-poo head. You're being legit. You mentioned safety. How do you/we know the others using Flip are safe? What if they use Flip to find their next victim? And to which I say, there's 2 parts to this. One, I'm going to say, have you ever used a dating app? Have you ever used a rideshare app? How are you guaranteeing that those people, like if you meet someone on Tinder, Hinge, Match.com, you can ask the same question, right? If you're getting in a Lyft or an Uber with someone, they could also, or a taxi. If you get in a taxi, a limo driver, any of those things, how do you know those people aren't using it to find their next victim? So I think there's a lot of time that when something's new, we're like, how do we know it's safe? But we don't question the things that are already in place and being like, oh, we already do unsafe things, or it'll follow the same protocol. Now, 2, we obviously care about safety. So we are doing it where anyone that signs up goes through a background check. And we're footing the cost for that. The app will be free, but we will be paying for anyone who signs up has to sign up with a license or an ID, and they will be going through a background check. We're also putting in safety features of where you can plan events. So we know where your event is within the app so that if something goes wrong, we know where your last location was. And then it's really, you use it to your discretion, like to your best, what's the word? Don't be dumb is the unkind way, but simple way to put it. Meet in public. Have people have your location. It's the same as going on a date with anybody. It's the same as going on Bumble Friends. We'll do a background check to make sure if no one with a violent or stalking history, criminal record can be on the app. But it's just like anything else. If you met anyone on any other platform, if you meet up, just have your wits about you. And we've also talked about installing the panic button that like some of the rideshare apps have where something goes wrong, you hit it and we send help knowing your location. It's one of those things. Nothing is 100%, but we do care about it. And there are things being implemented. All right. That, I think, concludes the first chunk of this episode. So let's check to see if we have a sponsor before we get into the guts, the real chunk of it. Ready? Sponsor! ZocDoc. ZocDoc is our sponsor for today. If you've lived life at all, you know that sometimes you just have to compromise. Especially when you're dealing with finances or other people in your life, it's just inevitable. But when it comes to your health, there should be no compromising. So don't go to those doctors that don't listen to you or take slightly sketchy insurance. Instead, check out ZocDoc, the place where you can find and book appointments with doctors who you feel comfortable with, that listen to you and prioritize your health. You can search by location, availability, and insurance. There is no compromising with ZocDoc. You have more options than you're even aware of. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. If you want to try it out, I highly suggest it. Go to ZocDoc.com/Rachel and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Rachel. ZocDoc.com/Rachel. All right. We've been doing confessions lately. Yeah, I get on kicks. I get on kicks of what I like doing until you all are like, okay, Rachel, we've had enough. Time to find something new. I was Am I the Assholes? And then it was Mythbusters. I've tried a couple question answers. And now I'm on confessions. We like to jump around, okay? I was reading my book for a bit. This is my thing. I just get in little chunks. We're going to do confessions again. But I Googled the most ridiculous confessions on Reddit, and I found a person that compiled, he called them or she called them the most hectic stories from Reddit's confession page. So these ones, you know, will be good. I miss Joy. I'm going to have her back. I like doing these with her. All right. Number 1, it says, when I was 9, I started the biggest fire my town had seen in 150 years. Oh God. Okay. So a lot of people are like, some of these have to be fake. Okay. Well, at least we were entertained. Also, who is making these things up? Go get a hobby. Just go do something. Go pick up an instrument or a sports thing or a craft. But I will read this now. When I was 9, my older cousin, who was 14, stayed with me and my family for a couple weeks. My cousin was a troublemaker, and her parents had hoped that sending her to our house would keep her out of trouble for a little while. One day while she was over, I asked if we could go to one of our local forest areas and make a fire to roast marshmallows. When we got down there, we made a little makeshift campfire out of newspaper and sticks, all on top of a rock. I'm pausing reading this. I grew up in Southern California. You are not allowed to just go to your local forest area and make a fire. That is just beyond me. Abby grew up in the middle of nowhere, and she always talks about stuff like this. I'm like, how are you allowed to do that? That just seems illegal, because it is here. There are no fire zones in California. Okay. Continuing. Eventually, my curiosity got the better of me, and I started chucking different things into the fire. Leaves, sticks, pine cones, anything I can find in the little area we were in. Then I wondered what a leaf on a tree would do if I set fire to it. My cousin got her lighter, and lit a small leaf on a nearby tree. I stared at the reaction in awe, and my cousin set a group of leaves on fire. We laughed as we watched the fire slowly engulf the branch. Once the fire burnt itself out, we carried on setting fire to bushes and branches, and then we realized that the fire wasn't dying out. In fact, it was spreading. What? See? What am I saying? See? This is, well, no, see? It is see. See, this is why California says, no, humans can't be trusted. No fires for you guys. I surely an adult had taught you better than this. Just curiosity got you? All right. Continuing. My cousin started to freak out when she realized the fire wasn't stopping. The summer heat wave had made everything so dry that it was catching fire extremely quickly. She grabbed my hand and we ran to the dirt road that was on the outskirts of the forest. But instead of calling 999, oh, you're in a different country. That's fine. That's fine. You're allowed to be. You're allowed to be in a different country. I'll let it slide. My stupid United States of America brain set. We just stood there, watching it as it spread and spread and spread. My cousin almost called them multiple times, but I kept telling her I didn't want to get in trouble. So, she never did. It had eventually spread so much that the fire department had trouble controlling it and had to order an evacuation of a nearby village. A village? Yeah, you're definitely not in the States. We don't have villages here. I want to know where you are. I digress. It was said to be the biggest fire the town had seen in 150 years. No one was hurt, but it did take 10 hours to get under control. It wouldn't have been as bad if I hadn't stopped my cousin from calling 999 when we first lost control. Both I and my cousin had promised not to tell a soul, but 12 years on and my guilt is still here. I just feel terrible about it. You didn't get caught? And then you have the gall to post about it online? Wow. How did you just never got caught? I don't believe that. You had to have told people. The town must have known. The village, in fact, must have found out, but just no one did anything. That's insane if you were able to actually keep that a secret for 12 years. I mean, you're posting about it online, but you never got in trouble? That's maddening. Damn. Okay. This second one is titled, In 4th grade, I told my friend about my mom's affair and then accused her of lying and making it up. What? In 4th grade, I told my friend about my mom's affair and then accused her of lying and making it up. I'm confused. Who did you accuse of lying? Maybe if I read the thing, I would have answers. Here we go. When I was in 4th grade, I saw my mom, who was married to my dad, kiss a family friend, also married with kids who went to my school, passionately on the lips at a small house party. I wasn't too fazed by it at the time. I already knew there was something going on between them, and as a 4th grader, I didn't really understand what cheating was, and that it was really a big deal in marriages. I ended up telling a group of friends about it on the playground, and I named names. They knew the man as well. They were a very well-known, well-loved family. That night, one of my friends tells her mom about what I said, and the next day, my mom gets a call asking if it's true. When my mom came into the bedroom to ask me what I had said on the playground, and if I had used the words affair, I totally panicked. I could tell from the tone of her voice the seriousness of it, that I had done something really, really bad. Okay. If this is all true, you didn't do anything bad. You just shed light on a situation that was bad. Your mom can't get mad at you for this. Sorry. If you're caught cheating, the person who caught you cannot be in trouble. It's you, the cheater, who is in trouble. Here we go. I vividly remember the dread I felt about this. I was already afraid of my mother's anger and rages over small things, that this was the worst thing I had ever done. So I lied and said I hadn't said anything. That night, I remember the massive knot in my stomach from fear, and I thought to myself that I wish I didn't have to wake up the next morning. I was a wreck for weeks. My mom asked me 3 times if I was sure I was telling the truth, and I said yes, all 3 times. I learned after confessing the truth to my mother over 5 years later that apparently everyone had believed my story and thought that my friend, the other girl, was just making up stories. I feel so bad to this day when I think about it. Wait, hold up. Your mom cheated and got away with it because you said it was a lie? How are you not more upset with your mother? Okay, it says read full post here. I'm going to see if there's any follow-up to this. Because, what? First comment said, I'm sorry, but fuck your mom for putting you in that situation by asking if it was you. She knew she was caught. What difference would it have made if her own child was the one telling people? Yeah, what the hell? Don't feel bad. This entire thing was your mom's fault, not yours. Wholly, utterly, entirely. Did your dad ever find out? The OP hasn't been posting. The OP never posted anything. I have so many questions in the OP. Someone said, so are your parents still together? Someone says, yeah, we're going to need some updates here. Yeah, if they're still together, it's going to spoil my day. For fuck's sake. God damn it. The OP never posted again. How can you give us something that chaotic and not follow up? Are you for real? Stupid. If anyone has a follow-up to that, please let me know. I have so many questions. I want to shake these people. Okay, next one. I threw eggs from my apartment to maintain peace and quiet. Hell yeah, you did. I mean, don't do that. That's bad, but I understand. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Here's the story. I used to live on the 16th floor of an apartment building. Nope, that's too high to be throwing things. Don't do that. That's attempted murder. Don't do that. Okay. There was a pub on the ground floor, and people would often congregate late at night in the street in front of the pub entrance. This was a hindrance to the residents because we would wake up at 1 or 2 in the morning to drunk people talking outside. You're 16 floors up, and you could hear people? I feel like I wouldn't be able to hear people. My apartment had 2 balconies on 2 sides of the building, so I often looked down on people grouping together on both sides of the building. I got fed up with it and decided to drop an egg where a group of people were chatting. They immediately dispersed, and I could enjoy my night's sleep again. I did this on another occasion, and again, it worked. I started buying more eggs, and it became a habit that I practiced for about 6 months. No one had a clue it was me, and I even went to the pub and overheard people chatting about the eggs being dropped from the balconies in the building. Okay, as long as you didn't hit anyone, but that is so dangerous. Do you realize how painful? Like, that could kill someone, dropping an egg on their head from 16 stories above? That is extremely dangerous. Nobody do this. Please, for the love of God, nobody do this. I am so glad you didn't hurt anyone, but it is actually a genius way. I think like throwing water might have been a better idea. But an egg? Points for creativity, but negative points for how dangerous that was. Here's another one. As a child, I copied a poem from a book and won first place in a poetry contest. Oh God, this must have been before they could see if things were plagiarized. Like, now you can just throw something in Google and it'll pop up. But back in the day, you could get away with anything. Except, I feel like I'd rather go back to school in these day and ages with ChatGPT before people know how to fight against it. Okay, here you go. When I was in 3rd grade, I was very into reading and writing, and often stayed up far past my bedtime reading anything within my comprehension level that I could get my hands on. Oh, that's cool. I'm jealous of you. I didn't know how to read. We had a stack of childhood... You think I fucking know how to say this word. Oh, I do. I just had to look at it. It's encyclopedias. Y'all, I didn't learn to read till I was 12 years old. Okay, you got to give me a little break. I'm still catching up. We had a stack of children's encyclopedias I loved on all sorts of topics. Dinosaurs, the planet, world history, etc. Including one of the stories/poems. One poem stood out in particular. It was about solitude and nature and really struck a chord with me. Because I love the poem so much, I copied it down in a journal I had of my own writing and passages/poems. I found inspiration in it. Because I was so young, talking single digits here, it never really occurred to me to write down the author or anything, especially not in my own journal. Yeah, why would you? It's your own journal. A few weeks went by and my mom had stumbled upon my journal while cleaning my room. She read the poem and assumed it was an original writing. She approached me about it that night and was so proud of it. Like any 8-year-old, I wanted my mom's approval and pride. So I didn't tell her I actually had found the poem in a book. I didn't think it would be a big deal, and she was just so proud. Yeah, you're 8, you're gonna lie. 8-year-olds lie. I don't believe a thing children say. I don't believe a thing a lot of people say. Fast forward a month or two, my mom is reading the Sunday paper and sees a poetry contest for young people. She immediately thinks of my poem and insists I enter it. That afternoon, she and my dad drive us to the office so she can type it up before home computers. Yeah, this is a while ago. She sends a copy into the newspaper, and of course, because an 8-year-old's name on an adult's published poem, it wins the first prize in my age group. My parents are so happy with me, and I feel incredibly guilty. Within the next month, the poem and my picture are ran on the front page of the art section in the paper. I am invited to read the poem as part of an award ceremony for all contest participants. Of course I go because my mom wants us to, and why wouldn't I? I get a small award, a ribbon, and maybe a gift card? I don't remember. What I do remember is feeling incredibly guilty. I have spent more sleepless hours over this poem than I can count. A few years later, we learned about plagiarism in school, and I feel as though I'm being personally called out. I remember tearing out the book's page with the poem, ripping it up and throwing it away, wrapped in an unused sanitary napkin, because I was so afraid anyone would find out. It's been 20 years since that award ceremony, and even though I realize it was a childhood mistake that isn't even that large, I still can't quite shake the guilt. This is a good person, because they're still feeling guilty about this. I hope you get some therapy to get over it. You deserve it, because you were a kid. And then it says, for those interested, here's the poem that I copied. It's titled, This Is My Rock by David McCord. This is my rock, and here I run, to steal the secrets of the sun. This is my rock, and here come I, before the night has swept the sky. This is my rock, this is the place, I meet the evening face to face. I guess it's a good poem. I don't know anything about poetry, though. That's a really funny story. I wonder how much that's happened to people back in the day where you couldn't really figure out if something was plagiarized unless someone's heard it before. It used to be way easier to cheat, but harder to find information before computers. So it's a give and take. All right, next one. I volunteered to do my aunt/uncle's laundry so I could steal money out of their pockets. I used to do this with my sister. I didn't volunteer. She used to ask me to do her laundry, and I say, okay, but I get to keep whatever money falls out of your pockets. And she'd say, okay, because she used to do cash. When she was on the road, she sold her merch, and she did cash for it. She didn't have a card reader. This was way back in the day. And then she would just have cash all the time. And so she'd always leave it in her pockets, so I would do her laundry, and I got to keep all the money that fell out, and it was always worth doing the laundry. I think sometimes she did it on purpose to help me out. But anyway, here we go. So I lived with my aunt and uncle when I was about 17 years old and in high school. And I had no money and was absolutely terrified to ask them for anything. They wouldn't let me get a job because they wanted me to focus on school. I was hungry most of the time and only ate food at school. School lunch was free in the state of Georgia. Oh, that's legit. Anyway, I would do their laundry as much as possible because 99% of the time, my uncle would forget to take his cash out of his pockets. I'd usually score about $20 per load of laundry, LOL. Okay, that's cute. I think it's funny. Whatever. You're getting paid to do their laundry. But I have to say, I knew families in high school, like parents in high school, that wouldn't let their kids get a job, but also wouldn't give them any money. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, my parents didn't have extra money to spend, and my parents refused to give me an allowance, but were very much in favor of me getting a job. So when I turned 16, which is like when you're allowed to really work in California, I immediately got a job and started making my own money, and I've had a job ever since. And my parents are like super supportive of that because I needed money. Then they stopped having to buy me as much. Like, I've just never understood that when you're like, you can't have a job, but we're also not going to give you any money. Because there wasn't any food for me to make lunches with, and my mom wasn't making me lunches, and I need money to eat. And there were kids that was like, this one guy I went on a couple dates with, his parents would not give him money, and he was not allowed to get jobs. So he would just save up his birthday money and his Christmas money from his relatives like he's 10. And I was like, hey, I'm not into this. he had like a really nice car, but he had no way of doing anything. It was so weird. I think it's a control thing. Like, I get you need to focus on school, but you make the rule like, as long as your grades don't slip, you can continue working. But I really think it's a big control issue. Like, you're dependent upon your parents because you can't make your own money. But like, shit, if my kids want to work and develop a work ethic as soon as they can, get out there, get chores, get your spending money, do your thing. Who am I to stop you? All right, next one. I lied about seeing a bear to get into the newspaper. Holy shit. See, that when people say they see UFOs, I'm not saying I don't believe in aliens and like extraterrestrial shit. I think it would be dumb to think that there's not anything else in this entire goddamn universe. But I think a lot of people just say shit. Either they're they think they saw it, or their mind made them think that they saw it, or they just are freaking lying. Because people lie. Everything I could have read through this entire episode could have been a just blatant lie. But here we go. This happened 4 years ago, and my memory isn't the best. So for people... Okay, this only happened 4 years ago? How old are you? So for some background, I'm 14, a 14-year-old male, and I live in a small village. Okay, what the fuck constitutes a village? Is this a European thing? I don't hear things referred to as villages very often. What's a village? I know what a village is. Like, Belle from Beauty and the Beast lived in a village. I think it's European. You can make fun of me. That's fine. I'll allow it. It's my American education system that's screwing us over here. Okay. Sorry. 14 years old, live in a small village. Around 2,000 people. That's a town. That's a town. And from when we started to around 12 years old, we would go to the forest near us to play. There was a main camp with a wind shelter and a fireplace where the teachers were. When I was around 10, we went there with our class and we went in to play. After around an hour, a group of kids came running from the more remote part of the forest saying they saw a bear. No, brown bears live in our region, but I've never heard of one this close to the main village. We believed them and kept playing. When we were going to pack up, me and a friend remembered that we forgot our jackets at the base. We went back and got them, and when we started walking back to camp, we started talking about the bear. He proposed that we should scream and pretend we saw it. So we did. We screamed and ran back saying we saw the bear. No one really questioned us, and we just went back to school. When I got home, I told my mom what had happened. The lie, not the truth. And she said I should call the local newspaper to tell them. And so I did. The reporter asked questions and I answered. When we were finished, he talked to my mom and she said that I would never lie and that I was the truth himself. It got published with a pic. Oh my God. It got published with a pic of me, and for 1 or 2 years after, people would ask me if I was the one that saw the bear. The friend I was with hasn't said anything, but one of the kids who originally claimed saw the bear said that they never saw it. Why is a 14-year-old posting on Reddit? Is there an age limit? I just feel like if you're under 17, you should not be on the internet at all. Like, that is not a safe place. A 14-year-old is writing about what they did when they were 10. I'm trying to think back, like, what would I post on the confessions? One time, in college, I just thought of this. I still feel bad about it. One time in college, I was sitting in my friend's office chair or desk chair. We did not have offices. We were in college. I was sitting in her desk chair in her dorm room, and I was like leaning back in the chair. And then I brought the chair down really hard, and I landed on her phone charger, and the phone charger broke. And I saw it, and I acted like nothing happened because I didn't have any money to replace it. And I still feel bad about it. And I still follow her on Facebook. I still think about it. I feel bad, but it is what it is. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to read this last one and then that be it. But I really like how it's titled. I stabbed my classmate in 4th grade and got away with it. There's no justice in this world. We were seatmates and good friends, so it was normal for us back then to just go through each other's stuff. But I forgot I put my diary in my backpack the night before because I was hiding it from my brother. She finds it and proceeds to read it until she reaches the part where I wrote about my top 3 crushes, the whole ranking and writing the top one as the winner to my heart. Oh God, the shit that we write down. Everyone, keep journals for yourself later, but god damn it, make sure no one else reads them in the current time. I was busy taking notes from the chalkboard, and she was only supposed to borrow a pen from me, so I was oblivious until I heard it. The familiar writing being announced to the whole class. I was flushed and embarrassed and couldn't contain my anger, so I grabbed my diary, but she wouldn't let me reach it. So I just went and stabbed her near the elbow downward. I'm sorry, this wasn't your friend. She started reading your diary out loud to the class? That's not a friend. I don't think you should have stabbed her, but I understand why you stabbed her. The wound was long because I dragged the pen, so there was a lot of blood. Our teacher was in another room, so our classmates went to get her. I was staying by my seatmate's side, finally realizing what I had done and panicking. The teacher came and immediately rushed her to the school clinic. I was so afraid of the repercussions of what I did, but I remembered being really surprised that when our teacher came back, I wasn't told to come to the principal's office or even just taken aside for a little chat. Nothing. Not even my classmate told on me. Well, because they were being a little fuckhead too. So they were like, if I rat her out, I have to rat myself out. After finishing my notes, I asked my teacher for permission to visit her in the clinic, and she said, okay. I went to the clinic to say I was really sorry, but I stopped walking and hid behind the door when I saw her mom was there. Her mom was asking what happened, and I was shocked that she said she was just playing around with one of her classmates, then mentioned a classmate who tripped and accidentally stabbed her with a pen. I felt so guilty that I ran into the bathroom and just cried. When I came back, they were gone. And so were her things in our classroom. The next day, our teacher announced that my seatmate was transferring to another school. What? Why on earth would she transfer schools after that? What a dramatic answer to being stabbed with a pen, especially if all the adults think it was an accident. What? All right. Fast forward to many years after, and I still see her on random occasions. Just simple smiles and waves and highs and hellos. Still guilty about what happened, but I just can't find the right timing to apologize. I can't just go and abruptly say my apology speech when I see her at the mall or someplace. I need closure. I need you to go find her on Instagram and be like, yo, homie G, sorry about the stabbing. My bad. Bad temper, I've gotten a hold of it. But why on earth did you not rat me out? And then also, why did you transfer schools? Was I that terrifying of a person? I really think you should ask her. I'm going to go and see if OP has made any comments. Well, of course your classmates didn't tell on you. You had already stabbed one of them. Holy shit. Most logical answer. She's a champ for not telling on you. She knew what she had done was wrong, so I would say she also felt bad. I find it weird you can't apologize now, though. It's clearly a long time ago, but for your sake, you should get some closure. Yeah, OP hasn't responded to this. I hate that. I hate when OPs don't Guys, you can't leave us hanging. If you post on Reddit and people are like, oh my God, tell me more. And you're like, bye. How dare you? How dare you? You are rude and mean. Oh my God, I just started yawning. I don't know what that's about. Good God. Great balls of fire. All right, let's see if I should we'll do one more. I used to write my mom's phone number in a ton of textbooks. Oh my God. I have never really gotten along with my mom. I don't hate her, but I also don't talk to her unless I have to. I went to public school, and one way we were able to lower costs was to make classroom textbooks instead of individual ones. This meant every day we would grab a random textbook from each class and take it to our desk, then put it back before we left. In middle school, about 12 to 14, every time my mom pissed me off, I would open it from the back and write, "For a good time, call," and then I'd put my mom's phone number. Her number had to have been put in at least 50 textbooks in 2 years that I was in middle school. In high school, we received assigned textbooks that would get checked at the end of the year, so I didn't write in those. My freshman year of high school, my brother was in middle school. One day, my mom got several dozen text messages and pictures from all the random numbers asking for a good time. She was pissed and demanded to know who did it. When I wrote it, I was smart enough to use my non-dominant hand, so it didn't look like my handwriting. I ended up blaming my brother. He is the golden child, so it didn't get him into any trouble at all. But now that I'm 21, I feel bad about it. Her number's probably still in a lot of those textbooks. I don't think I will ever tell her it was me, though. I moved out the day I turned 18, and now I live over 2 hours away, so it wouldn't really hurt my life. But why bring up mold actions? Thank you for letting me get this off my chest. That's hilarious. It's not. Don't do that, because that is fucked up. I do remember I had a friend in high school that did this to a friend of ours. So they got in a fight. These two dudes were like pissed at each other. So one of them in chalk would just write all over town. Like anytime he was anywhere, he just had chalk with him and would write for free weed, call, and then would put the dude's number down. And this was all over town. And people are going to call for free weed. And so our friend was getting so fucking pissed and he couldn't figure out who was doing it. And then someone finally told them, and they were, I don't know if they ever mended their friendship, but they were pissed at each other. And I thought it was hilarious at the time. And now looking back, I'm like, that was messed up, but it is what it is. It was in shock. It got washed off. I don't know. Teenagers do stupid things. Kids do stupid things, and everyone lies. So there's that. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to go actually pick up my girlfriend from the airport. She lands in a couple hours. So I'm going to take off. I love you guys. Remember to leave your questions down below or DM me on Instagram. Put up any Rachel's Rewinds you want me to talk about down below. And if you ever had any suggestions of what you want me to do on this podcast, let me know. I'm here to entertain you. I want to spread the laughter, darn it. So let's get at it. I love you. Thank you to our sponsors. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Rachel Uncensored, the only place on the internet where you can find the uncensored version of me, Rachel Ballinger. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, or follow, or do whatever this platform tells you to do so that you can get notified every time I post a new episode. Love ya!